All right. Well, my name is Sandra Louvier, and I'm the director of the Center for Entrepreneurship at Houston Community College. And most of my events happen on the west side of town at the HCC A-Leaf Hayes campus. And we're excited to partner with SCORE. We have been doing so since we started the Center for Entrepreneurship back in 2009. And a lot of our events are partner events. So we started doing this free monthly digital marketing clinic last fall featuring Beth Guide with SEO 411. And we do it every second Wednesday of the month. And so we have a nice following. Beth has been around Houston for years. In fact, I met her years ago when she was doing this at another entity. And I thought, one day I'd like to have that happening at my Center for Entrepreneurship. And so we made it happen last September. And it's been a real big success. And we decided, let's take them from on-site to online so that we can respond to these unprecedented market conditions today. And it turns out it was a great idea because we have a huge registration for today. We'll see how many people log in, but I'm excited because Beth is a Zoom Pro Ninja, and we are excited to see her walk us through how to post on social media and in particular LinkedIn. And then there'll be more to come, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later after we wrap up our session today. But there'll definitely be more to come with Beth Guide and with HCC and SCORE doing partner events together. So with that, I believe it's 6:30 on the dot. So let me introduce you to Beth Guide with SEO 411. Introduce yourself a little bit, Beth, and tell them what I missed out on telling them.
Okay, my name's Beth Guide. I started SEO 411 about 15 years ago. We have been working with several of the colleges throughout the city for many years, working and trying to help people learn how to be competitive in the digital space. It wasn't called digital initially, it was just the internet. But we've always put together classes on how to see what you should be doing, if you're doing what you should be doing, and if you're not, how to do it. If you want to do it yourself, we give you the information to be able to do it yourself. If you have somebody, we give you the information to kind of basically fact check that person and make sure that you're getting everything you can out of everything you do. What I will say, and this is kind of, I'm going to start sort of here, if you will. Everything that you do now is interconnected. And I know that sounds like so overly simplistic, but everything I do, when I do something, I start with a Google prism. Everything I look through, my mind is, okay, what is it going to take me to occupy the #1 spot on Google? What I find interesting when I say that sentence is if I said that sentence 4 or 5 weeks ago, some people would have said to me, that's a little antiquated. I do pay-per-click ads. I do all these things through paid spaces, and SEO is somewhat in the rearview mirror. One thing that has become crystal clear to me is that because of all the financial constraints businesses are going under right now, the people with strong organic search, meaning they are the ones listed in the Google page when you do a search, those businesses are somewhat okay. They're not 100%, but they're okay. They have sales calls, they have people coming into them. So the people have put together a plan that incorporates everything, are doing a lot better than the ones that were relying on ads and spending a lot of money. What I will say is that way back in the day, if you asked me about paid ads, I would tell you that it was the equivalent of an addictive drug. Now it's somewhat required, but not 100% necessary. So you may say to yourself, well, what does that have to do with LinkedIn? So Google came back and has evaluated where people are, how much of an influence they are, and are they trustworthy? Because anybody can come in and go put a page up, and there is no governance whether that page is true, whether that page is false. There's no fact checking, if you will, on these pages. So Google had to come up with a plan that started to help fact checking pages. And one of those fact checking is LinkedIn. I think what we're going to see over the next, I'm hoping few weeks, probably I'm being optimistic, but in a few months, is that LinkedIn is going to be one of the most important tools for you to be able to get in front of people in a manner that they want to do business with you. Um, People do business with who they like, and they have to like you. So when you remove the interpersonal communications of people, how do I know that I like you or I don't like you? So LinkedIn gives you a platform to start to do that. Um, I see a lot of mistakes, and I'm going to kind of touch on some of those mistakes. Um, but the fact of the matter is, if you were all sitting in front of me, I would ask you who is an expert at your business, and I would expect every hand in the room to go up. Everybody is an expert in their business and in their field, and if you're not, then what are you doing in that field? So that it's kind of a cart and a horse. You are an expert. So what are you doing to tell people you're an expert, and what are you doing to make those people like you? So those are a few of the high level things that we're going to look at. What I will say is that Google has come back in within the last, I'm going to say probably 6 months or so, and they are looking at who is the author, what is their authority to be able to um, speak on a subject, what is their trust, and they have several different ways that they develop that trust. And that trust is somewhat delivered through places like LinkedIn, places like your blog, places, I'm even going to say Facebook. But what I do want you to understand, and this is kind of my personal opinion of things, so understand that's where this is coming from. Google and Facebook are like the two kids in the room that got a divorce and they don't get along. Okay. I think Google wanted to buy Facebook and was not able to. And ever since that kind of got pish posh, Google's been looking for ways to create that own social network themselves and has somewhat removed themselves out of um, doing things positively with Facebook. So when I talk about professionalism and being an expert and what is the value of LinkedIn, I'm talking about it in a sense of how do we prove to Google that we're a trustworthy individual, which sounds like why does Google care? But they want good quality information that shows and demonstrates that you have a following, that people listen to you, that you know what you're talking about, and that you're basically an expert. I'm going to use the word influencer as well. You need to be an influencer in everything that you do. And that should be a goal, whether we're sitting home with coronavirus or we're running up and down I-10. There was a highway named I-10 at some point that I remember vaguely in the stretches of my mind. But I think what I'm trying to tell everybody is we really need to make sure that we are putting our best foot forward. So what I also will tell you is that this period of time that we're in is a fantastic period of time to build that following and to show yourself as an expert. A lot of us are home. A lot of us are not quite sure what to do. Our jobs have been disrupted. If we're a small business owner, what are we doing to push that small business forward? How is that working? What are we doing? So we're gonna look at those things because everything should be about being an expert. So I'm gonna give you an idea for something that I'm gonna start working on. I don't know if I'm gonna get it done this week, but I think I want to do this. I got an email from Google, and the email basically said that SEO has proved itself having value to small business owners because those that invested in it have the ability to stay listed, whereas the paid community is having a lot of trouble, and those people are not they're not staying. They had to shut their ads off for financial reasons. So it was basically applauding, which I was kind of surprised that they did something like that, but it was basically applauding the existence of SEO and saying that everybody should have a multiple prong approach. So one of the things that this class is about is explaining to you the complexities of Google and what you have to do to be in that number one spot. It's not an accident that you get there. It's not. It's also not voodoo. I've had some people tell me that it's magic. We make magic and nobody really understands what I do. But really, all it is math. And it's doing, or boxing. They say boxing or figure skating. It's doing the most amount of things right that you get the most amount of points. And this LinkedIn piece is an extremely important piece, and I'm going to explain to you how it should be. I also turned on the premium features because there's a lot of extra things. If you're looking for a job, you need a job. If you're furloughed, if you don't know that they're going to take you back, this is the time to start looking through LinkedIn and seeing what that network looks like and what you can do to position yourself as a thought leader. Because what I will tell you is, and I'm going to pull this up here. I want to see premium features, okay? I see my own customers from time to time come up on my list of people that are checking to see who I am, what I'm doing. Am I a thought leader in my position? What is my background? Do I have the background to help support their business? So I see my own people sometimes in this list. So this is kind of why I'm telling you guys that you kind of need to make sure that you're cultivating and doing all this. So I'm going to assume that everybody has a LinkedIn page, but they don't really know what they're doing with it. I'm going to just take a flyer on that for a minute and see that. If I click on my name here, okay, it gives me all about me and what I can do to showcase myself. Now, what I am going to tell you is that I do not put a resume on my website because I haven't had a job in 22 years. I own my own company. I love what I do. And I don't need to put a resume up that says I did this and I did this and I was 3 years here and 2 years there, because I've been doing this for so long, my resume would say Red Lobster bartender, Red Lobster waitress, and junior reporter for the New York Times way back in the day. Past that, I've got nothing to talk about on a resume. So I'm going to say, put your resume there. I just don't want you to come back to me and say, why do you not have your resume up there? If you're looking for a new job, I would make sure that you have it. So I had to go in, and I'm going to go ahead and hit edit here. I put my name that everybody knows me by. Do not put your name that nobody knows you by. If I put Elizabeth S. Guide here, I guarantee you, other than my picture, you guys would not know who I was. So I'm going to say to you, make sure that you put a name that people know who you are and know what you're doing. I'm also going to encourage you to get a professional headshot. I have a friend that came to me not too long ago. Well, actually, it's been about 1.5 years now. But she said to me, "Why does everybody put up themselves and they look like they're in a bikini for their LinkedIn profile pictures?" And what she was actually saying is, people have off-the-shoulder pictures, and they have nothing here, so it doesn't look like they're professional. They don't look like they're somebody you would want to do business with. Invest in a professional headshot. You never have a second time to make a first impression. You want people to look like you're somebody they want to do business with. I have seen people look like thugs. I've seen people look like they're funny or they wear silly glasses. If that's not your shtick, please, you want to be perceived as being a person you want to do business with. And you can't control that image on the other side of the screen. What else I'm going to tell you is be your own brand. Part of the reason that they put this on Score and I had 300 people is because I am a brand at this point in my life. And I have worked for many years to cultivate that. I see Jacqueline here on the bottom of my screen. Hi Jacqueline. She's been with me for almost 10 years coming in and out of this clinic. I have people that come and follow me. So I'm not saying that to be braggadocious. What I'm saying to you is that I am a brand. I always am representing that brand. Whether it be on LinkedIn, even Facebook, I always am representing my brand and making sure the stuff that I put up is not distasteful, could be perceived distasteful. I try to avoid all taboo subjects if I can. Because, people get along. You don't want to say something. And they're like, oh, you like right now, I grew up a Yankees fan and I have sort of converted to be an Astros fan. I don't want my Yankee friends to shun me now because there's a big fight between the Astros and the Yankees, or the Dodgers. I understand that's a simplistic overview of that, but I don't want to go down that road. So I don't go out there and talk about my Yankees or my Astros, or I just don't want the fight. So I stay away from it because it dilutes my brand. And I don't know that everybody thinks about it that way. So moral of the story is get yourself a professional headshot. Do not go and get a glamour shots. This is not the time or the place for you to look like you just walked out of a modeling agency unless you're a model. If you're an accountant, please do not go to glamour shots. I mean, those two things just don't equate well with each other. If you want somebody to take you seriously, you need to dress the part. So your profile picture is an extremely important part of what you put there. For the longest time, I had a goofy picture of me that my friend took. I was like, yeah. So I went and got a professional headshot, and that's what I put there. The other thing, I'm going to try to give you a little bit of a hint. Everybody tells me that this is I'm like nitpicky with this, but back in the day with your newspaper, if you notice, I am looking towards my profile. Okay, so my picture doesn't have me looking to the left. It has me looking to the right. That's going diagonally across my profile. The reason I'm bringing that up is because I have to exude the confidence in myself. And when you take a picture and you tip it away from the content that you're over, or you tip it away, you're sending a signal to the end user that you don't have that right amount of confidence. So it's one of those things that I learned very early on in journalism school, that you always need to be looking onto the copy. So when I pick the picture, this is not my favorite picture of me. I have another one that I'm much more relaxed and I look a lot more like me. But this one, the shoulders were looking right, my eyesight was looking right, and my face and my facial expressions were looking right. I know that seems to be something like a lot to take in, and why am I overanalyzing a LinkedIn picture? Again, people are going to need to make a first impression. You want to make sure that's the right first impression. So the next thing that I came down to, it says add former name. I don't have a former name. The reason it's asking for a former name is because if you have a former name, people know you by that. You need to make sure that they're not confused with who you are. As simplistic as my name is, there's not really anybody else there up there with my name. But if my name was Joe Smith, I can think of 5 Joe Smiths just sitting here that are well known. So please make sure that you put your secondary names in, or that you use names that people know you on. So just notice that button is there. The next thing I did is, this is the headline. So this is something that you could put there. I actually own 2 entities and companies. So I actually put both of them here, as well as my credentials that I'm a Google certified partner. What I don't want to put is something cheesy like internet guru and all around nice person. Those of you that know me know I'm probably the nicest person you ever want to meet. I'm funny. I can do a stand-up routine in the middle of 300 and you guys just laugh yourself silly, okay? But this is not the place to put that. I know some people will disagree with me. I think that you, again, send a wrong message. Again, do you want to do business with these people? As I say this, however, let's say we are a balloon and event planner. Maybe I can get away with being a balloon and event planner. That seems to be one of the newer things out there, that people make events and make dresses and clothes out of balloons. If that was the case, maybe I can be funny there, or I can be a little bit more relaxed because I have a whole lot lesser of an amount of territory, if you will, to carry. So I can get away when I'm doing something funny. As an owner of a web hosting and a web marketing company, no, there's no earth that this person can sit here and I can go put that stuff in there. Current position. I make sure that I have all my positions there. I have 2 president commit things, but they went by years. So one started in 97, one started in 2008. So it lists them in chronological order. So that's where my current position will only let me have one position. Most people don't have multiple positions and multiple ownerships in companies that run symbiotically, I don't think, with us. The other thing I did is I showed my education in my background. I am proud of the fact that I graduated college. I think that that's something that if you have it, use it. If your job does not require it, and it isn't an advantageous thing to you, then don't worry about it. But if you have it and it helps set you apart or give you a little bit of a lift, please, by all means, add your educational background, especially if it influences your ability to do your job. Okay? So I'm not going to save this because I don't really want to make any changes. Um, no, thank you. I want to close, discard. Okay, so I'm going to keep that as it is on the top. This here, because I have the upper level version of LinkedIn turned on, it says show recruiters you're open to job opportunities, get started. I am not, so I'm not going to go down this road. If you are open to job opportunities, you don't work for yourself, you're unsure what your future holds, then please get started, walk through the wizard, and go ahead and tell them that you're open to those opportunities. The other thing you can do, and this is another upper level function, and frankly, I don't pay for LinkedIn on a regular basis, so I turned it on tonight just for this. But it says showcase the services that you can be, so that you can be found in search. I would be inclined to do that and tell them about what we do, how we do it, and let people know that we offer the services that we do. So if you're a business owner, feel free to use this showcase section and fill in any services that you offer. Again, keep it real. Don't kind of keep going on about the possibility of you being funny or I am the janitor. Well, yes, I'm the janitor because when you own a small business, you're the CEO and you're a janitor. We all know that. But I would never put the janitor in my job and service description.
Beth,
Okay. Yes.
people are not putting questions. You got to tell them that you want to make it
If they want to
interactive.
put questions, they can put questions.
No, I know. Ask them to put the questions in Q&A.
Oh, put
They're
questions.
probably looking for
Q&A.
chats because I don't see anything.
It's because I'm so engaging. But if you have questions, put your hands up. The other thing you can do, you can put it over here in Q&A. I kind of am looking over there and see if you have any. I don't want to go faster than you can absorb. So there is that. The other thing, I guess, you can put your hand up and we can unmute you and you can ask your question too. But I don't want to make this a full free for all. So, but if you want to put any questions or anything comes up, please have at it. Okay. All right. So the next thing. Why does your about say we are a leader? Because we are a leader. Because I wrote this as we are a leader, and you're saying it should say I am a leader. Okay, I don't want it to say I'm a leader because I represent my company. Remember that part that I said I represent my company every minute of the day. So I wrote this as my company and what we are, because we are a leader in the internet marketing space. We have helped many businesses. I do never act unilaterally as myself. At least that's my opinion. When you write this about yourself, you can write whatever you want. But I wrote this specifically as the CEO of my company. So if you're checking me out, I want you to know that this is my company and that's who we are. So that's why that was written in that tone. That's an on purpose situation. It can be I or we. I mean, it can be either. I specifically did this because I am always repping my company 100% of the time. There's never a time you ever see me not doing it. Okay. It says, what happens when you don't want your day job in a small perception mix? See, I've had that happen. All right. So this is where this starts to get interesting. On LinkedIn, remember, LinkedIn is business only. Now, if you're trying to do your night job, the question that I would have as a follow-up is, are you required to have a LinkedIn profile for your job. So can you answer me that, Will Porter? Are you required to have a LinkedIn profile for your job? Or do you need that tool? I don't see an answer. We'll see if he answers me back. You're going to have to write it as another question because I think that's the only way we can do it. I'm going to say that it depends on whether if you have to rep your job on LinkedIn and that's what you have to do, then you have a bit of a conundrum. What I will say is that if I had to separate, I would make 2 profiles for myself, one for ACTWD and one for SEO 411, and I would separate it. At one point, I did have 2 profiles because they were 2 completely different companies, but I've subsequently joined them together and then took the ones with the most on it and added them in. So that I will say. You're on the clock 24/7 now. I know maybe nobody wants to hear that, but you're on the clock 24/7. So please, everybody, understand that. I just don't even know how to stress that enough. And it's a common mistake that I see, that people think that they can get away with doing different things and you really can't. All right, let me, so I hope I answered the wheeze and the eyes. The wheeze is because I'm always Beth Guide, president of SEO 411. I have a staff. We are committed to delivering X. So that's why we have what we have. And that's that story. Let me see, what else do we have? Yes, the Kamir Shaw. Yes, you needed a business LinkedIn page, but let's talk about that a second. LinkedIn is predicated on a personal interaction. So although I can have a business LinkedIn page, it never gained the traction as an individual. So I don't put a lot of effort into those business LinkedIn pages. I want the relationships that I have with you guys, those show up in the scroll. The stuff that's my opinions, I put there, they show up in the scroll. They do not do that as well when it's coming out of a LinkedIn business page. So I am not an advocate, although you should have one because you need to claim it. I do not believe that that is where your time and effort should go on this. It should be about you. What I will caution you is that if you're an employee, you need to speak to your employer before you go doing something. I'm assuming I have a lot of small businesses in the room. You need to rep your own self. So everything I do is done for me as myself. If I was an employee, I would make sure I had a conversation with my boss on what they wanted to do and how they wanted that handled. I have had some companies that we made a general person that was the face, where all the material for the company was posted, that sort of belonged to the company and not me as an individual. So those become a case by case. This is one thing where this medium becomes a little bit, because I can't say to you, what do you do? The answer would differ based on whether you work for the company, whether you own the company, so on and so forth. I own my company. I put almost 0 into the actual corporate page. It's all set up. It looks real spiffy, but at the end of the day, I am SEO 411 and SEO 411 is me. Those 2 things are interchangeable and that is how I want it. But you have to make those decisions based on your own company and your own interaction with them. So this person says, I work for a multiple major corporation. It's not mandatory. However, they will search for you on the site. Okay. So here's where I see LinkedIn gets really crazy. Edward Jones. When you work for brokerage houses, you're not even allowed to have these things. They're sitting down on your head all the time. They will look for you because what they're looking for is, what are you doing? How do you conduct yourself? How do you act? Do you go put pictures of yourself on vacation? Are you putting up posts that belong to competitors? I am going to say I am not somebody, I never will be. I do not believe in sharing other people's posts. I am the most stingiest post sharer you'll ever want to meet. And the reason why is because if I share your post, you are now the expert, not me. And you take that away from me. So what I do is when I see something that I think is newsworthy, I break out my keyboard and I write a rebuttal or a affirmation of that article. Hey, I saw today that the SBDC said the entire banking system crashed because every small business in America was making loans. Okay. And I may say, well, I hope they get it fixed. Or my opinion may be, hey, I need them to get this all worked out and do right. So whatever my opinion is of that, I may sit down. So instead of taking the SBA article and sharing that, I may regurgitate it to be what I want it to say. If I see something from somebody else's SEO blog, I'm like, I'm not sharing their stuff because that means that I think they're an expert. I read it, I decide what I do and I don't like about it. Just like this thing from Google, it would be very easy for me to share that post from Google and put it out there, as opposed to sitting down and getting my keyboard out and writing what I really think, which is there's some really, for as badly as they have treated SEOs through the years, there's some really interesting points that they're now saying that every company should have a strong SEO presence. They have done nothing but try to crush us because we are the antithesis of their ads. And now the day came when nobody has any money and they're like, hey, everybody needs to be out there with good SEO. So I found that to be interesting, and I need to parse through what that news release that they put out, and I probably want to make my own comments on it. It would be so easy for me just to hit forward and put the Google page up. Okay, let's see. Not for my day job. Okay, so Will Porter says, what happens when you don't want your day job and your small business perspective? Okay, I understand what you're saying. What I would do is I would work on my small business because that's what I own. I don't know that I would put the time or the effort into, unless you were forced to. And if you can brand yourself, just like I did, like SEO 411, I branded myself as SEO 411. I would brand myself as that small business. If somebody came and looked me up and they kind of saw two of me, okay, great. But as long as you're allowed and they're not, you didn't sign something in your contract, and this gets all HRE and legally and probably way out of what I would really need to know how to do, I'm going to tell you that I think I would work on my own persona long before I would work on my employer's persona. So that would be my answer to that. Is there a way to see other people's questions in this chat box? I'm going to say if you ask that question, the answer is no. But that's why I'm kind of reading the questions out loud before I answer them so that you know what I'm answering and I'm not just randomly answering things. Trying to help out with that. So if you guys have more questions along the way, let me know. What the next thing I'm going to say is the next biggest part of this. I came down and I put in my experience, who I was, what I'm doing, where I started. I stopped at the end of my copy editing career back in the day. I have my journalism degree. That's what I chose to fill in there. I've let and encouraged people to endorse my skills, endorse what I do. A lot of people have done this on their own. Some of the people that have worked for me in the past, some of the people have been customers, but they all work towards endorsements. Can you say the questions louder and be more clear? Okay, I can try to do that. I'm trying very hard. Yes, I will try to make sure we're being very clear in what we say. Okay, so as we're going through all of this, I went through my skills and my endorsements. I want to make sure I have them. If you have people that you can go ask to endorse you, please go do so. Make sure you work on getting those relationships out of your profile. When it recommends somebody you know, please go interact with them, make that connection. You want as many people connected to you as possible because it helps you get your brand out as far and as wide as you can. I have a gentleman that's in my day class, and he is an accountant, and I think he has 2,300 and some odd people. He puts up stuff on accounting, on taxes, on stuff consistently, and because he's doing it, what he's doing is he is building his brand and people follow him religiously. And he's an accountant. It's not even like he's got a great personality, but it's not like he's some, you know, rock star. He's just a guy with an accounting background and answer questions. All right. For the showcase service section to be active, we need to use the LinkedIn to upgrade. Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. I turned it on. I'm going to turn it off when I'm done. I haven't really pursued this. I don't know that I have to. I think that's why I kind of have stayed away from it. But that's kind of my opinion on it. Okay. So how soon should you create a profile when starting a new business? The first minute you start the business, you should be having your profile started. Let people know that you started your business. Let people know that you're out there. Start developing and massaging those relationships. Again, remember, people like to do business with who they know. So you want to start a profile, and you want to start encouraging people to interact with you. Now, what I'm going to say is this. There's two ways that I think that people should interact with you that are very important when we do this. I'm a big content person, okay? And what I mean when I say that is I believe that the best way to get traction within LinkedIn and to get for your business is to be an expert. Okay, so that is a belief. That's not something that you're really ever gonna get me to come off of. So like this, okay, so this gentleman here, he posted this. It's coming from somebody else's. Now, what I will tell you is these two guys are personal friends, so I know why he did it. But what he really needed to do was go in there and explain or rewrite this and explain that, hey, I found this blog. It's more relevant today. So, you know, I find myself, all these things that he's saying here about this, he would have probably been better off going ahead and rewriting that page himself. This is a real post. This is real information. I trust this gentleman that I probably at some point will come back and read this because I want to see what he's talking about. I also trust this lady to say what she needs to say too, because she's a pretty good thinker. So between the two of them, I know that this is somebody that I need to check. Okay, and I'm going to skip over hashtags. Ads, nobody's touching the ads. I will tell you that I ran an ad for Disney, and even that I couldn't get enough out of. People are somewhat immune to ads, I think is probably the best way to say it. Now, this Dana lady, I just heard her speak the other day as part of one of the chambers that I'm in. What she's doing, I don't know that I necessarily agree with how she's approaching this, because what she did was put an Eventbrite program in. She hasn't explained to me what her qualifications are or why I should go to her Eventbrite. So you would have to build a following that people understand what you're doing. To tell me that, what my question is when I see that is, why are you qualified to tell me how to work from home productively? I have to go doing a whole lot of digging. What this should have been is an excerpt from her talk that she just gave for the Houston West Chamber, and maybe a piece that talks about what her qualifications are to make that. And then once I started to read it, then put the Eventbrite link into it and get somebody to come to it. I don't know that this is, because again, there's so much garbage when I go down here. You know, what do I care? Okay. All right, let's see what this guy says. So this guy is pushing LL Bean for some reason. Now, I don't know what that does. He's a friend of mine too. I don't know what that does to, I guess they're helping, instead of making boots, they're helping making masks. Great. Good job, LL Bean. Way to go. I don't know that I would have put that there, because again, that's not helping me be an expert. That's telling me that I like LL Bean. I'm not on the train to put stuff out there that doesn't help my business. Because instead of paying attention to me, I'm now watching the LL Bean video, and that doesn't make me too happy. So let's see if I can find a good person. Nope, here's another one that's not a. This guy used somebody else's post. See, this is why I say this starts to look like Facebook for business. And this is not saying anything about what I'm looking to do or how I'm looking to do something. So this guy here, he does EOS implementation. So he's saying, "Oh, good book. Okay, great. I don't know why I even want to. Again, why is this here for me to? What value are we giving?" So let me see another one that wants to tell me. Here's my. Okay, so here's what she did: building her own brand. This morning, I had the pleasure of hosting a LinkedIn workshop for Together. Thank you to the person who invited me. She put some stuff here. She put stuff about how to tag. She's put useful information, and it all belongs to her. So again, this is very important. All her material belongs to her. And just like this class, when this is over, we will take it. I'll end up probably excerpting piece of it, putting it out there. I may put, hey, what is tagging and why is that important in LinkedIn? Okay, so we're going to address that in a minute. Okay, but this is a post that at least gives me something to look at that that is about her and what she's doing to help me understand that she's an expert and not promoting somebody else, I guess is the best way to say that. Let me see. I just want you to kind of go down each and every one. You see now Goldman Sachs, although this is promoted, this is about them and it's, let's see, what is their thing? At least it's something talking brand strategy, why it's important, and they're doing a daily check-in apparently. So that's actually probably a good use of some ad revenue if you wanted to do this. But those are those discussions that you have to do. So let's come back to our questions because I see them backing up again. Okay, showcase services, I think we answered that. How soon should we create a profile? I answered that. What is the benefits of premium versus regular? Okay, don't take that last one out because I still have to answer both of those. The benefits of the premium account is really who is interacting with me so that I can reach back out to them. That's one of the biggest benefits, if you will. So if I know who's coming and looking at me, I need to go back to those people and say, hey, what can I do to help you? Why were you looking at me? What did you need from me? What was your what about me are you trying to find out? Now, I wouldn't say it like I'm saying it to you, but I saw one go by. Somebody was looking from one of my customers was looking and looked me up. I need to go back to them and say, hey, hope everything's going okay. How are you doing? Checking in with them and see what's up. Because if they went all the way out to LinkedIn to come and figure out, check me out, I better go figure out what they wanted and make sure there's not a problem. Is there a search engine optimization tip for LinkedIn? Yes, there absolutely is a tip for that. I want the content to live on the website. So everything that I do, I put on the blog function on my website first and foremost, always, because that's where the path starts. So Google will see that post. They will see that that post lives on a website. And then what else they will see is that what was the support that came back to it from LinkedIn? How many times was it shared? So if you have a sharing mechanism that gives you the count, they can then see how many times that post was shared and what was the effect or impact of that. Every post I put up on a blog needs to come back into LinkedIn 100% without exception, because they're always the things that promote you. They promote my brand. They promote my website. Every aspect of it is, it becomes a total, a holistic approach. And Google's looking for those signals. They're looking for that trust. They're looking for that authority. That's the things that they're looking for now. So if you don't feed them and you don't do that, you can't just go sit and put stuff out on your website and not share it and bring it someplace else. And it's funny because the person that asked me about the bikini is the next one in the scroll. But that post that I wrote, I put a pithy title on it that says, why not to have a bikini-less LinkedIn profile? I have had more shares of that article than just about any article I've ever written on my website. It's way out there. So, all right, Amber, let's see. Is there optimal days or times for maximum viewing and reach? Yes, they are. They depend on your industry. So if I'm a travel agent or somebody that sells honeymoons, I'm putting stuff up in the evenings. If I'm somebody that's working for a contractor that they're at their desk during the day, I'm going to say yes, that's when I would put them out. But every industry has these things, these times of day that work best for them. For me, from the SEO standpoint, usually I see the best traction when I put something up on these things late, like from maybe 2 to 4 o'clock. I think everybody gets bored with whatever they're doing, and inevitably I put a page up and the next thing I know, my phone's ringing off the wall and somebody's wanting something. So I know that the time that I'm taking to put stuff up is helping drive sales. So every article I take the time to write, I make sure that it has a point that would help drive a sale, and I put it in front of people at a time that they may or may not be willing to take a look at it. I'm going to tell you, for me, it's 2 to 3. You have to kind of feel out which is better for your time of day. Okay, so it's better to have the article to live on the outside website. It's better to have it to live. Okay, so what that question is it better to have it lived on the outside website and then shared inward? And I'm going to say 100% yes. Put it on the outside website and then share it from the inside, because that if you share it on the inside, Google does not give you the proper author credit. You'll get credit from inside LinkedIn, but you're not going to get the proper credit from the rest of the world. Let's see. You said nutrition and wellness. Nutrition and wellness, spitballing this, I would say more towards the morning, because you guys get up early, you do your yoga routines, you stretch, you do crazy stuff. Next thing you know, you're on the internet while you're cooling down. So I'm going to say health and wellness, we're going to do the morning, and that's kind of what my idea is. Somebody asked about, it disappeared, but somebody asked about personas. And that's a really good question. We talked about Google Analytics earlier today. Those personas need to be created. I always have a persona in my mind when I sit down to write my page. Who am I writing it for? Am I writing it for the C-level person and understanding that C-level person's a little bit older? Am I writing it? What'd you say, Raj? Okay, I'm going to just keep going. Okay, from the persona standpoint, I always make an idea of what the personas are and who I'm writing for. I have several different audiences. So I have the C-level people that ideally I would like to get a job with them. To work as their consultant for outside marketing. So that would be one persona. I have one persona that's my small business owners that I know that will never be able to buy a thing from me, but they deserve as much, if not more, attention than the people that would be somebody that would buy service from me. And when I write for them, I write as a small business owner. I write as one of them. I don't write to them or at them. I write as one of them. So I'm always thinking and processing who is going to be the viewer of this article. How are they going to consume it? What is the proper way to address them and talk to them? And just as much thought as I put into what direction my shoulders are in my profile picture is the same amount of thought that I put into what is the tone of every page that I write, and do I address my audience? My lighting site today, we were looking, the demographics seem to imply that 70% of the visitors are men and 70% that they're all 25 to 35 years old. Those have to be written in a way to address that demographic. So now that I understand that's my visitor, I need to make sure that that persona, that person that I'm writing to falls right in alignment with that. Okay, let's see what the next. Yeah, target the correct personas and make sure that your articles are right and they address that. And if you look at some of the things that I've written on SEO 411, you'll see that some of them are written to the small business owner. Some of them are written to other SEO companies. And some of them are written to C-level people. You can pretty much, now that I see that, the one thing that I will say to you is I have a bad habit, but it's probably not a bad habit. But I have a habit of taking what my customers ask me and adapting that outward. And one of the best situations I ever came up with is I have a company that we do business with that came to me and asked me that, should I have one website or should I have two websites? And I get that conversation almost once a week, because there was a point in time that people said have microsites and have these little sites that talked about, and I'm a big believer in one site, except that this particular business, that if I had used the main site because medical was involved with it, it would have been disqualified. So I went through the pros and the cons and the pluses and the minuses, and I must have done it with them about 3 or 4 times. And I finally said, okay, I'm going to write this all out for you. I wrote the entire set of information out for them. And then I proceeded to post it on LinkedIn. That post to this day, every time I put it up, my phone rings. If you notice, I'm saying that I repurpose that post. That's the other thing. Every post I do, if it can remain relevant, I make sure that I reconstitute it and put it back out there. So I did an article on the impact of social media on Hurricane Harvey. That would not be something that I would continue to repurpose. And the reason I can't is because that was a one-time event. It's now in our review mirror. We know that Hurricane Harvey started, help some people, that social media, Facebook played a role in getting a lot of people help. But there's no point to keep bringing that up. Conversely, I have one that talks about overloading your WordPress blog with way too many plugins. And that sucker I put up every 6 to 8 weeks and kind of roll with it. So understand what can be repurposed. I don't view anything to be a one-off, that I write something one time and I can't reuse it. What I will say is when I write this page about the value of SEO and the COVID virus, I think what I'm going to do is call it situations like so that although that this is, I'm hoping, a one-time deal, it becomes something that's an example point that people can relate to, but that I can reutilize that article, because I constantly am fighting this pay-per-click, paid versus organic search. It's a constant challenge I have. All right, so let's see. Let's see what our questions. Is there a search engine? Target the correct. Will you please review the topic of posting inside or writing? I don't know that I understand that question. Okay, Martha, can you rephrase that question? Because I'm not sure I'm understanding it. Okay, explain the credit for sharing content again. I did not understand. Okay, so Google in their algorithm. So Google has a very expansive and complicated ranking algorithm. And what they're looking for is experts. So the difference between being number 1 and number 2, some cases, is $4, $5, $8 million. So you want to be number 1 at all costs. So what they're looking for is, what I'm going to use the word, social proof that you are an expert. So if I take something, I put it on my website, and it starts to travel out on these social highways, Facebook, LinkedIn, even Instagram, on any of them, and it starts to travel outward, Google says, hey, wait up a minute. We see that this article keeps coming back and it keeps coming back up. So it's kind of regenerates itself. So they give you credit, and they give that website the credit, and therefore that credit helps push you up to the top of the search engines. Now, it's not an isolated thing. It's not the only thing that I would have to do. It's one of several. But you need to be holistic in how you do this. It needs to be on your own website. It needs to go out on social. You need to try to procure links. There's several different things that you need to do, but you need to get that credit for your own website so that Google says, hey, this is a trusted person. And then inside of LinkedIn, that they say, hey, I like this person. I want to do business with that person. So it becomes a win-win. Okay, so that's that. The next one says, what is, don't have a blog page on your website. We are a catering company. Okay, so I like this question. And here's why. Why don't you have a blog on your website? That would be the first question I would have. And the second thing is, the sky's the limit because you could put recipes up from now till doomsday. So you should be putting a blog on your website. What you should be talking about is, what is the cost between you and Jason's Deli and why it's better to go with a mom and pop? What do you offer and what can you give that a box or brown bag lunch can't give? What can you bring in? And there's like lots of different topics. When I do blog topics, we've played Stump the Band with me, and they'll like kind of stopwatch me and say, how many topics can you give me for blog ideas for a idea? I can come out with them. But if you're a catering company, there's lots of things that you can do. What should I expect from a catering company? What should my recourse be? What should I look for? What are 10 ways to decide how to pick a catering company and how that catering company reflects on the business that they're catering for? I'm sure people are inviting you in for lunch or something like that. They're not just catering because they want takeout. I mean, you reflect, and who they picked as a caterer reflects. So there's lots of things that you can do with that. So please put your blog up. If you're using WordPress, there's an easy recipe plugin. That's something that will get you going. But start having this discussion with your customers. I wish you were in front of me, because the first question I would have asked you back is, why should I pick your catering company? And I would think that you could give me a lot of reasons why I should pick your catering company. Well, those are information for the blog. And that gives you the platform. That blog gives you the platform to explain to somebody why they should pick you at this point in time. Okay, next one. New business owner here, bought a travel agency. Oh, I feel so bad for you. Hold on a minute. Bought a travel agency at the best time you could buy one. I guess you mean now. Could I give you my contact information to share? No, I don't know that we want to do that. Can't do that because everybody's going to want that. And then we're going to have 150 people wanting to give out their contact information. So I can't do that. Hold on. We're going to have a dog incursion. All right, go, Daisy. Everybody go. Go do whatever you're going to do. Okay. Go. Okay, how should a small business target specific personas, i.e. radiologists and LinkedIn? How should your company increase their following and actually make the contact you want to see your contact is getting in front of them? Okay, so I'm assuming you want to talk to radiologists, and that's the person that, so I wish I could kind of talk to you a little bit, but if you want to get in front of radiologists, then you should be putting up content that targets radiologists. You should be becoming an invaluable resource to them, if I'm understanding your question correctly. You need to put out information. You know, for the first, I guess, 10 years of my company, I never wanted to tell anybody how I did my job. And it finally occurred to me, I could tell you from now till doomsday. Some of you will get it, some of you won't get it, and that's just the way it is. So be that resource and go in this and start to target getting these people to follow you. It makes suggestions. Know who you want to follow. Go find some of those people. Get them in your scroll. Get them to answer. And then proceed to go ahead and put information in front of it, not an ad. And the other thing I'm going to tell you is you need to be magnanimous. Don't always be selling something. Be happy, be helpful. Tell people what they need to do. Don't be afraid of giving away the secret to something. And you know, I keep finding this 57 ingredients that go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. There's not 1 minute on this earth that I can make KFC at my house that tastes like the stuff that I get at the KFC place. So I'm okay to give away the shop because I don't know that I think that anybody can kind of grasp it as good and do it back. If you can even do it 1/10 as good, you're in great shape. But don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to go out and tell somebody what the right answer is to something. Okay, so next question is, someone asked a question about posting from their site inside their site or something to that matter. I was not clear on the topic. Okay, what I'm saying to do, and let me just go over here and let's pull this up this way. I go to SEO 411. Okay, come here. You got to sit down. You cannot make any more noise. All right, if I go to SEO 411 and I go here, I'm trying to, the writing on this website's very fine, so I apologize for that. This is me. Okay. So I sat down and I put up this post that says, what makes for an SEO friendly website? I put a graphic on it. What I want everybody to do is get a Canva account and make graphics for your blog post. Do not put a blog post up without a graphic inside of it. In Canva, you can make really cute little graphics with them. So it's $9, Canva. I don't own stock in them. I don't get any proceeds if you go buy service from them. But I'm going to tell you, it makes you look like a graphic artist rock star if you can do it. What makes a website SEO friendly? We went through, I went and added some of what they are. I put this on my website. I then take this URL that is the post URL, copy it, and I am going to share it back into my LinkedIn profile. So start a post. And I'm going to put this here and I'm going to tell it I want it to go out to anyone. So it's going to pull the article and see it pulled my header here, right? Take that out and I'm going to say, now more than ever, people need to make sure that their website is well designed and easy to use. Use your downtime to your advantage. Okay, and then I'm going to put a hashtag of web design on this, because if somebody's looking for web design, I want them to be able to pull that one up. I'm going to use web design. I'm going to use digital marketing. And I'm picking things that if somebody wanted some tips, you see, I'm not picking a service. You don't need to come and buy something from me. I want you to come to my website because you liked what I had to say, not because I had that. And then see, they have some more down here that they're recommending: online marketing strategies, website building, website marketing. I'm going to take them all, because they all apply, website tips, and now I'm going to post it. So now this post came off of SEO 411. So immediately SEO 411 is now the expert and not somebody else. And see, because I did this as trickily as I did with this Google certified partner, that's what's sitting out over the top of my post. So I put that there specifically for this, because for somebody that may not know me and come to me via hashtag, that gives me an elevation over the top of it in what I'm doing. So I hope that everybody understands that, but that's what I'm trying to tell you to do. Put the page on your website, pull the page into LinkedIn. Yes, I suggest hashtags. Let me see, where did I leave off on these questions? Let's see. Posting from inside. Okay. Hopefully we're good on that. Okay. I have a closed brand. How can I build a following and consistently build engagement? I'm going to tell you, on a closed brand, I'm hoping that you're out on Instagram. That's more an Instagram thing than it is a LinkedIn thing. Let me log in here. Hang on a minute. It'll log in here a second. All right. This is a friend of mine, and they do a killer job. See what she's doing? Every day they have a post, they have a picture, they have themselves out in their clothes, they're laughing, they're talking, they're having a good time, and they're repping their clothesline because that's what they do is they rep clotheslines. So for you, that's I would be more out here with this for style and ideas and stuff like that. The thing is, when I go here, I can get back to her website and get back to be able to buy her clothesline off of that. So you seem, I would think you're more in a Instagram bucket than I would put you in a LinkedIn bucket. Okay, next one. Do you suggest hashtags? 100% on LinkedIn, yes on the hashtags. On Twitter, yes on the hashtags. On Facebook, Facebook doesn't really recognize hashtags. Instagram, hashtags. So yes, please, you saw when I posted that article that I did, I went ahead and put some hashtags right in my post there, and I put the ones, and I actually used the ones that they did. So where I see carnage and hashtag usage, let's say I put hashtags, dumb things people do. Is that a good hashtag, really? No, of course it's not. I see people make up funky words, as hashtags. The purpose of a hashtag is somebody to come and find you. So when I click on this website tips, what I'm going to do is pull a list of everybody that has submitted a website tip. So that's where you want to be in the right place. Nobody's going to put in a weird, I used to love the Yankees, but now I love the Astros, hashtag. Well, that's not a good hashtag because nobody's ever going to put that up in a million years. So you want to make sure that your hashtags are being used to help you find and take the suggestions people are giving. If they're giving a suggestion on a hashtag, please, by all means, take it and utilize it and make sure you're accurate in what you're doing. Don't ever be misleading. Being misleading is going to end up hurting you. All right, let's see. Do you use, or is there specifically just a keyword in your blog? Okay, so when I write my blog post, I'm going to come back to this one a minute as we're talking about this. I match everything. So when I sit down and I write my blog post, and I actually write it to what I want it to say, what I want it to cover, where I want to go, what I want to do. I then come back and put the keywords back into it. So if you notice, I have search engine friendly website is one of the terms. If you start to come down this, you're going to figure out internet marketing. See, there's another keyword. You're going to start to see that I kind of peppered the keywords in throughout this, but I wrote this and then I put the keywords in. I didn't write to the keywords first. And I find that when I write to the keywords first, what ends up happening is I don't sound natural. I need to write for me and who I am, and then go back and put those words in there. By the same token, I don't know if I did pick it, but internet marketing should have also been on that LinkedIn post. So when I put that up, and I don't think it actually is, let's see if I can edit it. I'm going to actually, internet marketing is not there, and I'm going to put it in because that also now reinforces the keyword that I put, internet marketing. Okay, so it's going to reinforce the keyword that I put in the page. So you see how, again, I'm doing everything is done in a circle and holistically. It's not being done haphazardly or without any consistency. Okay, so let's see what our next. You guys are asking good questions for being in a scroll. I give you all the credit in the world. Okay, so overall, to rank higher organically on Google, we need to post the original content and share it on LinkedIn. Yes, that's true. By doing this, we become an authority on and we get the blue check of approval. Yes, that's it. You got it. That is a really good way to say all of it. Now, what I will say is you do need to do this consistently. It's not just this one function. You need to lace the keywords in. All these things that I talk about, I could talk about this. I could probably talk about this till tomorrow. So I don't want to bore everybody to death, but yes, that particular situation. But yes, you got it right, Will Porter. Okay, so let's see. My website profile edited and verified at physical classes.
Beth, when you read those out loud, you're reading them kind of quietly. So like,
Because I'm trying to understand what the questions are, but yeah, let me try to read it because I'm trying to process it. I apologize, Sandra. Okay. My website profile edited and verified at physical class before COVID-19. However, have website title as either org as of now or net. I don't know what that says. My website profile edited and verified.
I don't understand that one either, but the one you just said before where you were saying, yes, yes, that's right. Read that one out loud.
Okay, it says, so overall to rank higher organically on Google, we need to post the original content, share it on LinkedIn. By doing this, we become the authority on the topic and get the blue check of approval. Yes, 100% correct. That's what that is. I don't understand this one from the next one down. Let's see. How often do I need to post a new blog content on LinkedIn? Okay, so that's a really good question. The thing is, I would say as frequently as you can. However, if you're like me, I may only get to do one every 3 to 6 weeks just because of my schedule. Google has come to learn that if I start going crazy and putting stuff up every day, they wonder what happened to me. In fact, they do send me a get well card because they're like, what are you doing? You must be home all the time. So they really don't, just so we know. But the thing is that just whatever you choose to do it with consistency. Don't go all over the map with it and try to be. So if you start down this path, don't go put up like 50 items because you're home because of COVID. And then the second you go back to work after COVID, you never put something up because Google's going to say, wait up a second, we had this burst of activity and now you're doing nothing. So what I will say is if you have the ability to write a bunch that while we're sitting here now, what I would recommend doing while we're at home is spacing them out. So let's say I got really kind of a little slow and I felt like I wanted to write a whole bunch of pages. I would put them on my website, but I would put them with future release dates and make sure that they had a shelf life that could do that on. So talking about the benefits of SEO is not a topic that will go away after we all go back to work. But if I talk about how to use Zoom to be able to take the place of online classes while we're all home, that doesn't have good shelf life. So you have to use your head if you're going to post out to the future. Try to use your head and decide what has a shelf life and what doesn't. So that will help that. Okay, what else do you need to post on LinkedIn when you're not posting new content? Nothing. Okay, so you're going to get some people that are going to say, oh, you should be sharing. I am not a sharer. I'm not a sharer in real life. I'm not a sharer in virtual life. I am not sharing a thing. And those of you that don't know me won't appreciate this, but those of you will know that will laugh your butt off. Okay, I don't share anything because I'm the best. So there's no other answer out there. So I know that sounds like I'm being a funny part, like I'm being arrogant, but that's the reality. I'm not sharing anybody else's anything at this point in my life because the second I do, that puts a chink in my brand. And I'm never going to be, I want you guys to be rock stars. I want every one of you to be putting stuff up. And I sure don't want you taking time and sharing somebody else's something. And I see a lot of it. I'm going to say I see a lot of it. You need to put your own stuff up there and out there. And I don't mean to offend anybody with me being funny or anything. I hope I don't. But the reality is you need to be so confident in what you do that is what you put out there. Okay, is there a preferred website to use for social media? I've heard of Buffer and Hootsuite. Okay, so this is a really interesting question. I don't use any of them because their algorithms are stacked against them. So Facebook wants you to use their scheduler. So when you post with Hootsuite, your post is that much less likely to show up because you have the algorithms suppressing it. And then you shot it in there with Hootsuite, and they're like, hey, you didn't use our stuff, you didn't post it out there. So I don't use a poster like that. I do have an SEMrush subscription, and occasionally I will put repurposed content in there. But the initial post, I do manually each and every one of them every single time, because they know they came in from them, and they don't honor them. Now, what I will say is that's a Facebook thing. Twitter is a little bit more forgiving. It will allow you to do from the outside like that. But, with Twitter, you have to, like, if I was going to put that post that I just put up here, if I was going to put that post here, I would have to go post that 7 times or 8 times today in Twitter for me to get any traction with it. So understanding the medium and the platform is a big problem, or a big thing that you need to know. So I can do this on LinkedIn, and I can do this page, every 3 to 4 days, or depending on, once a week or something like that. When I do Twitter, I better put it in there 7 times for one day and let it rotate in and out. The other one that I use is one that's called Crowdfire. It's really easy, and I can do it off my cell phone. And that one does not seem to be penalized the way Hootsuite is. So I'm just going to kind of throw that one out there too, sideways. But always the best thing to do is use the tools that come from the vendor, if you will. So, all right, onward and upward. All right, just a little bit on the dashboard. Yes?
What is it called again? Crowdfire?
Crowdfire, yes, Crowdfire.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, so you have your homepage, which gives you your information, the stuff that you've done. Just the general interface of all of this is pretty much the where it is. If I go over to these guys here, we manage this one, and you'll see we do put all their stuff up here, and we do put the stuff out that we do. We just put this up. This one was put up, and it's all out there posting. All the blogs that we give them are put up here on their corporate page. But this is a mid-sized business. This is not like your little mom and pop. So I told them, go ahead and do this, and that's probably a good idea to do. So that's that story. Let's see. Yeah, they have this is the, I guess this is all their stuff that they have, and the stuff that they've shared. They do some stuff that I don't necessarily, but that's okay. We're all good. Okay, so your network is your people. So these are the people that are here. So I'm gonna accept these people. They know the person I know. This person wants to sell me something. This person I'm okay with. See, I go through these all the time. They know somebody I know. I go through and add these and add all the people that have asked me for requests. This person's somebody I know. And that person has a thing he sent me, so I need to go talk to him and go see what he wants. So there's just, this is a digital marketing guy. I tend to follow people in my own space because I like to see what other people are saying. I like to know what's going on in my industry. So if there's particular people in your industry that have something to say, please follow them. The SEO community is interesting. There's a lot of people to follow within the SEO community. So I tend, like this guy's a big SEO guy. So anybody he's following, I tend to go ahead and follow. So make sure that you go through and you do your, go through and build that network, because again, those are people that you can see you, that you can see them, and they're people that you can put your message out to. All right, let's see, back to the questions. Let's see, is there a preferred, all right, we asked it. Is it better to post on each platform? I say do it manually. I do them all manually. I very rarely do I, at least for the first post. If I repurpose, I may use Crowdfire to repurpose, but I do every single one of my posts by hand out of the box. And in fact, what I'll tell you is I do it I don't have it on SEO 411 and I probably need to, but here, this is really how I do it. actwd.com. If I go to the blog on this one, if I put a page on this website, I actually go to this website and share off this website. So this is where I share it from. I don't share it from like usually go to the website and share. I actually do it from outside here. And this is where I share it from. And then I go inside Facebook and re-put it out on the corporate pages. But when I do it from here. So I think that Google can see that. They understand that. They understand that interaction that I took this and I put that out there. You're always better. Make sure that you have a social sharing plugin on your website. The one that I use is called Social Media Warfare. And the website of it is Social Media Warfare Plugin. That's hard to say that. So I would tell you to go ahead and do that. Yes, you can unfriend people from LinkedIn. Somebody asked, can you unfriend people? So
can you explain that further about the social media warfare and social media plugin from your website to?
Okay, so I went and put this on. Yeah, I got you. All right, so I put this on the website. I put these social sharing buttons on my blog. Okay, because what I want to do is I want to make sure that somebody uses them to share off my website. So I made it easy for them. I put a tag down the side. I put one across the middle. I hooked it all up. It's not easy to hook up, but it has really good direction. So if you're a pretty reasonable reader, you should be able to do it, okay? So I went in, I hooked them up. These are connected to my Facebook accounts, and it keeps track of them. It knows that this article was shared 29 times, all right? And Google can see that. So when I go and post on the website, I actually go and use the social sharing buttons on the website. I don't just usually go pick up the link and do it. I think it's one more reinforcement from Google. Google doesn't know it's Beth Guide doing it. So I have one more reinforcement that I'm an expert because I went and shared this off of Facebook or off the website into Facebook directly and didn't post it inside Facebook. If I posted inside Facebook, they basically know that I did that and cut and paste the URL in. But if I share, it's no different than when you share off the news. If you go and you read an article in the Houston Chronicle and you share it, same concept. The Chronicle gets the credit for that. So it's an important thing to do. And I think it sends a better signal to do it off the page this way. Twitter doesn't give you a good count anymore. They used to, but they don't now. But we have, there's lots of shares. And the thing is that there's proof for the end user. So the end user comes here, there's 44 shares. They have a little bit better feeling about that page too, because they're like, well, this page is shared, so there's some validation that it's a reasonable page. So there's a lot of that going on as well. So this social sharing is a big deal and should be done as much as you can and in the manner that so what I don't want you to do though is this. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to just keep sharing it to my Facebook page to make my number go up because they'll know you're doing that too. So don't do that. Don't just sit there and share it because that's not the right way to go about it. I could see somebody doing that, so I don't want you to actually do that part. But the social sharing aspect of this is very important. All right, let's see. You guys, you're good on questions. All right, so let's kind of, I'm going to say that I have the same approach with Facebook that I do with LinkedIn. The one thing I'm going to tell you that, and write this down, I don't think I have time to go. In fact, I know I don't have time to go. It took me almost 45 minutes to explain it the other day. What I want everybody to do, this seems to be a big question that everybody asks me all the time, is how do I do Facebook or how do I do Facebook ads? So the first thing I want you to do is ask yourself this question. Do I have a business that will benefit me on Facebook ads? So if you're an accountant, maybe, maybe not. If you're a divorce lawyer, maybe, maybe not. If you're a business tax person, I'm going to say save your money. Um, Even my SEO stuff, I don't spend money for ads out there because unless I'm looking to go sell these classes or do something like that, which I've never done, it's kind of not, I'm not going to get enough back out of it um, to get the worthwhile to go do it. And I don't need to buy people to like me, or there's no benefit to do that. There was a time that you wanted to drive the likes up, but there's really not a value to buy that stuff anymore and do it with a $5 drip. What I will tell you is this, is have a plan. So you need to make sure you put your Facebook pixel on your website. And what that pixel does is it acts as a tracker. So when I go to a website, and let's see if I can make this happen right now. All right, so what they just did when I did this is they dropped a pixel on my computer for infinity. When I go back to Facebook, usually I show it in the first set of scrolls, so that's just it's not showing up. But I would have an ad for an infinity show right up in my scroll, okay? And it's because they dropped that pixel right on the page. The Texans must have dropped the pixel because they seem to keep coming up quite a bit. I'm pretty mad at them, just so you all know. No, I'm not seeing. There's all these crazy people, and I'm not really seeing any. Call rail is something I looked at for somebody, and that's showing up now too. So, but long story short is, when you come back here, that pixel activates and shows that ad within my scroll. And that's what does it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, let's see if I can find an actual ad. This is an ad for somebody. What do they want? Accident reports, personal injury leads from people. So for whatever reason they came up, if I go to sign up, you have to have a plan. So they want my email address. So their plan is click on the ad and get my email address. I'm not going to do it because I don't really want the accident guy bothering me. Some of them take you to the website. You have to fill out a form. When you fill out this one here probably will do it. All right, let's do this. All right. I'm going to make it midnight, so when they call it midnight, it gets the answering service. Okay. So you see I'm submitting, and usually they give me visit website. They may give me a white paper. Sometimes you see it, but you actually have to have a plan, which is go in, make sure you're giving somebody something away. And if you're going to give something away and get their email address, have a plan to retarget back to those people. Don't just put up a Facebook ad and hope somebody is going to come and click on it and call you and buy stuff from you. You need 17 touches for somebody to buy something from you. So the idea that somebody's going to see a Facebook ad and you're not going to have to go back to them and back after them and send them spam mail and stand on your head and call them and everything else is just silly. You have to, if you're going to spend the money, although it's not expensive, make sure that you know what you can do to get something in, so to get that business in. So what you often see is a white paper. So let's say I wanted to put together the ultimate guide for SEO tools, okay? And I may run an ad that says, hey, come here, come see about my SEO company, and we'll give you the ultimate SEO tool guide. So when they come, they get the Ultimate SEO Tool Guide. I then take their email address and I send them drip campaigns back to them on a regular basis, so that we end up remarketing to them till either they tell me leave me alone, or they actually end up doing something with me. All right, this question said, how would we add a Facebook pixel to our Facebook page? You don't add it to your Facebook page, you add it to your website page. There is a plugin that you can use, and it's called Pixel It, I believe, if you're using WordPress, and it will allow you to put the code in and add your Facebook pixel to your website. So that's where the pixel gets added. It doesn't get added on the Facebook side. What happens is when Facebook sees the pixel and that pixel matches something that you've done, they then display that ad. So let's say you told me you do catering. Let's say you do catering for baby showers. So you put the Facebook pixel on your website. You then put ads in Facebook that talk about catering for baby showers. You click them over to get a sample menu or a coupon or something. I would say a coupon would be more probably appropriate. You can get their contact information with that coupon. You can remarket them to them with that coupon. You can get them to use the coupon if they make a sale. So there's several different reasons why you'd want to use the coupon. What's going to end up happening is when they go to your website, you then are able to drop that pixel on their computer so that when they come back to Facebook, they see their ad for you again. So it's a reinforcement of your business and what they did. I will see ads for this guy for the next 30 days because I came off sideways and came into this. So I guarantee you that I'm going to see a big pile of stuff for this guy for the next foreseeable future. I want my infinity ad. I don't know why it's not showing up. See, and I don't even know. Somebody must have decided I have money or something because they're now, I don't even know why this is here. But this is going to, this one's not set up right either. You know, it's funny. All these people, this stuff's not set up right. It's a funny little set of circumstances. Okay, so here's another guy, get an offer. If I get the offer, I now go to his website. That's ideally what I want them to do. He just dropped a pixel on my computer. Every time I go back to Facebook, I'm going to see this guy. So that's ideally how you want that to work. But have a plan for Facebook. Just please don't go buy Facebook ads. And that's a big deal because I think most people don't really ever think about it. They just go ahead and do it and think that people are just gonna come to it and go. So take care, Amber, if you're still here. I had one lady say she's leaving. She's a real good friend of mine, so I'm glad she was here. So that's the Facebook side of this. I think that you need to sit down and mark out what you want and kind of, I'm going to say, come up with a strategy. So for Facebook, okay, if I wanted to get web design clients, I think what I would do is put together a guide of tips for web design and what you should need to know to do web design. And it wouldn't be the Internet Marketing Clinic if I didn't tell you not to use Wix, Weebly, Web, or Squarespace, because you know those are my favorite programs not to use, and I tell everybody that every time. But the thing is, I would sit down, I would map it out, and I would say, okay, so my plan is to put out this ultimate guide for web design. What that would tell me is if somebody was interested in that piece of material, that would mean that they're probably looking to redesign their website and looking for information. So that would be a prospect. So what I would want to do is I would want to bring them to my website, have them fill out a form that says, hey, I want the ultimate guide to web design, collect their information, and then give them the brochure. Once I gave them the brochure, they're on their way. I may or may not see them again. And And when I go back, I may drop them an email that says, hey, if you have some questions about web design, we're very happy to answer them for you. If you're considering having your website redesigned, please call us. I may reach back out and come out. Now, there's marketing funnels that you can do this with. There's software that you can even do it out of WordPress, but there's software that you can do to build those, build that information and build those funnels out so that you have a way to retarget and remarket to those people. If you do not have that kind of a plan, a Facebook ad is pretty much useless. That's the way I look at it. So save your money if you're not going to put it all together right. Okay, so this one says, this is my favorite question of the night. I got to tell you, it says, which product not to use? Wix, Weebly, Squarespace, all of the above. So I always say not to use them because they're cookie cutters. They are not putting that website. I'm going to add WP Engine to this, WP Rocket to this. What I'm finding is more and more of these people are aliasing out. And this is going to get a little complicated to try to explain. But when you buy a site from Wix or Weebly or Squarespace or any of those people, they give you a temporary address, and it may be, yourwebsite.wix.com. And the problem is that that's the way Google sees you. They don't see you with your own domain anymore. They see you as whatever the subdomain is. And the thing is, the reason I bring up WP Engine now is I saw a record that somebody had put in for WP Engine. And what it did is, instead of having your website be front facing and that website be on point, that website was now belonging to WP Engine. So all the links, all the link equity, everything that they had was going to start to fall by the wayside because this thing it's just an alias, also known as the domain, and not really the domain anymore. So I'm not even too happy with them anymore. I think you have to compete, and you have to compete against some of the brightest minds in this space. And when you do, you need to give yourself the best advantage. And when you use these cookie cutters, you're not giving yourself the best advantage. And that's probably the best way to say that. So, okay. Let's see, what other questions do you guys have? Because now would be a good time to ask them and see what else we need to answer for you this evening. I think LinkedIn is extremely important thing for us. I think it's extremely necessary, especially in this time and place where everything is in so much tumult and everything is so out of whack. What is your email for further questions? Okay. All right. My email is Beth, BETH, at SEO411.com. And what I will say is you can send me any type of question you want and we'll answer it. I do see one in the scroll that asks me if GoDaddy's a good host. I'm going to take the Fifth Amendment. I don't really like recommending hosting companies. If you kind of dig in my background, you'll start to find out what my opinion is on a lot of things. I actually put a Facebook video or a YouTube video up that explains my position on that. So if you want to go find out, but I'm not going to talk about hosts one way or another here. Okay, if my personal Facebook has 3,100, my business post Facebook has 570, how do I post nutritional wellness on my personal or my business page and share it one from the other? Okay, so I have the same thing. I don't have 3,100 friends. I only have about 1,000. But every time, so that post that I just put up here, let's see what we got here. Somebody commented on that post. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit my share button, and it's going to say share to a page, and it's going to bring up all the pages that I manage. Okay. So I always post starting personally, and then I can post it to a page. So if I wanted to post it to the SEO 411 page, here we go. It's right here. I'm going to post it. And now it's on my SEO 411 page. I always start everything on my personal page and then share it to my business pages. It's a very rare day that I put something up on just the business pages that don't cross into my personal page. But again, I keep my personal profile pristine. When you go and look me up, it is pristine. You do not see, the only thing that you would think I like is my dogs, which is pretty much the only thing I do like. So it's not that far of a stretch. But you don't see a political discussion. You don't see a religious discussion. Usually you don't see anything, anything off color. You wouldn't see. You don't see me doing weird things. You don't see me sitting on a boat with a beer. You see nothing, because I don't want anybody making a judgment, and I don't drink beer on a boat, just so we understand that. But I don't put any of those type things, and I try, if somebody tags me in something like that, I go and try to remove the tag. I feel like that's I don't want people creating and crafting something for me. So all my stuff is pretty much what I want it to be. And if you come back over here, it's going to post. So see, here's that post I just put up. And then here's our April class schedule with links and on all the virtual classes that we have. So, and we put everything I put up here. So our class schedules go here and on the hosting company's web on the Facebook page too. All right, it says you talk about what we should not use. What should we use? WordPress. It's really only one answer to this. And here's the reason, and WordPress.org, not WordPress.com. It may be a little bit more difficult, but you control it. And this is a true story. So just take it for where it's coming from. So many years ago, we used to use blogger.com to run the blogs. And we would blog and then we would publish it. It had a feature to it that it would publish it back to your website. And then when Google came in, they bought Blogger, which I think most of you don't even remember that they actually were the predator to it. But when they bought Blogger, they left it that way. So everybody kept blogging and blogging. And about 2 years later, they came in and they said, okay, we are going to take command of every piece of content that's posted in Blogger. You used our software. We're not going to allow you to post it back to your website anymore, and completely change the entire program. So it's never a good thing to allow third parties to govern or rule your business. I really just have a real big problem with that part of it. Furthermore, what I will say is that these Squarespace is owned by the little Square credit card people. Their whole purpose is to give their loss leaders. All these companies use the website, and the website design is a loss leader. So Square sells merchant accounts. That's their main function, is to sell you a merchant account. So they figure they'll give you a tool that you can sell on the internet. I dare anybody to go find me a ranking website that was built in any of these platforms. I just took a website and flipped it into WordPress back on February the 1st. Let me show you what that website looks like. Now understand we had a pandemic, so the traffic kind of fell off on everybody. I think the estimated traffic has gone down now by about 30 to 40% on every website out there, just because of every commercial website, just because of this pandemic problem. People just aren't out there searching and buying and doing all the things that they were doing. My computer's being slow. I apologize. So if we look at this here, this is, the website was not in WordPress here. So you see it was down at 7,000. It jetted all the way out to 12,000 before the pandemic came. It was the day before they sent everybody home. It was doing 11,000. It was doing 12,000 visits a month, or a month rather. So The traffic was way up. WordPress is way up. When you do it, Google understands WordPress. It understands the hierarchy of WordPress. Again, I don't own stock in WordPress. I don't have any vested interest in it, but I'm here to tell you that if you're serious about having a ranking website, that's really the only path you can choose to have it work right. These web in the box things don't really work well. Okay, let's see. Next says, will you review LinkedIn for Business and the best way to create an account? Yeah, let me see where we may have to add that to another one because just how to, hold on a minute, let me come back to that. Any specific recommendations for healthcare professionals on LinkedIn or regarding marketing in general? I would be putting information, self-help out there. If you're a dentist, you're probably better off on Facebook than you are on LinkedIn. So again, understand your audience and understand your medium. But like a dentist, you're not going to find a lot of people looking for teeth cleaning out on LinkedIn. So I might be a little bit hesitant to use LinkedIn as my mode of operandi with that. Now, if you sold drill bits to dentists, that's fine. So healthcare professional, that kind of leaves it wide open, and I don't really have a clue. I mean, if you're I don't think you're the same person that asked me about the radiologist, so I don't know about that one. Now this one came back and says, I'm a health and wellness instructor and a coach. If my personal Facebook reflects only my business, do I still need a Facebook page? Yes, you need both. But let me tell you something, on Facebook, they're going to give more credence to your personal page than they are to your business page. But I still have both. Even me, that I do all this with SEO and I work with people one-on-one, and a lot of it starts on my personal. I still have a business page. So you say to use WordPress. Yes, I say use WordPress. That's really the best solution to it. So the person that came back and said, review LinkedIn for Business and the best way to create an account. I have one I need to do. Hold on. I can't log it as them though. I already have it. I can't do that right now because I already have one, and I can't make it underneath here because I already have one. All right, I'm skipping that question. We will have I will come back and answer that at a later time in a different class, if that's okay. All right, I will not forget. Is a Pixel easy to use and install? Yes, it's called Pixel. It's called Pixel Your Site is the plugin. So write that down, and then you can go download. If you're using WordPress, you can download it. If you're not using WordPress, chances are there's a place within that software to add something to the head file. You can do it there. Any mental health tips for mental health professionals? God, you have to be the busiest person on the planet right now, because like we all need mental help after being locked in our houses for 4 weeks. Okay. Any tips? I've placed an ad on Facebook and have people checking me out, but no new clients. Okay, so here's the thing. If you don't have a plan, why would I, and don't misunderstand this, I don't mean this derogatory, but why would I pick you? What have you done to earn my trust to make me pick you? Running an ad does not qualify me to pick you. So I need you to make sense to me and put stuff out, like 5 tips on how to live in your house during quarantine. How to not get a divorce while you're living in your house during quarantine. I swear the divorce lawyers are going to be the busiest people on the planet once we're all freed up and let go. I think you have to come up with a reason to do business with you. Just putting an ad, I'm like, well, that person's just putting an ad, and because they're seeing that, oh, maybe I need counseling, but there's no plan for me to decide why I should use you. I would be putting stuff up that says, talks about, I'm assuming that you can do virtual site visits. If you can do them, great. Now I need a page that talks about why it's secure to have a virtual site visit with you. You know, what can count? Should we do group counseling while we're at our houses with our families inside? How do I deal with the stress of having my person and my kids around all the time? Even my little dogs that I love, they keep barking too much, and I have to keep saying to them, "Be quiet! I didn't know you bark so much." But that's because I'm not here all day to hear them bark. So, yeah, that's been a new one on me. I just thought they were quiet little angels, but yeah, they have big mouths. But the thing is, what are you going to do to instill trust for you in me for me to buy that? It's not an ad. I'm wondering what the heck. And what are you landing them on? Where do you land them? And what do you make that look like? What does that page look like? Is it a page that says, here, come and do this? Or is it a page that talks about and sympathizes and empathizes? And, you know, I want you to get me before I ever, and I mean get, like understand. I want you to understand me before I ever give you a dime. And I need to know that you're doing something securely so I understand who I'm doing business with. So that there's that too. What are your qualifications? She said, yeah. So she came back and she said, yes, I'm offering telehealth. Would blogging be beneficial on those tips? Yes, absolutely. Every one of these things. If you could talk about how secure is telemedicine, and why it may be the counseling of the future that I could sit home and don't have to come to your office. I think we're going to see a lot of things change, that we're never going to go back to doing business the way we did before. You know, I don't even know what the date. I almost want to. I keep saying St. Patrick's Day because it's like that was the first day I stayed home. But all the things that we did before were probably, we've got a lot of things that are going to change. Just like this clinic being put on the internet this way. You know, it's a big deal. It's a lot of people. So. And we can have a bigger reach with this. So maybe we run this and the clinic at the same time. Those things are changing. So because they're changing, you got to roll with it. And yes, put that stuff out there and put it on a blog and make people want to do business with you. It's not about the sales pitch. You know, they tell you always be selling. And I agree with that. Always be selling is a really big deal. And I think I probably am always selling. But at the same time, I know how to do it in a manner that I'm not cramming it down somebody's throat, because the second you start to do that, you get tuned out immediately. So yeah, write blog posts that explain and empathize some of the problems, you know, rise in domestic violence. I have a child, what do they call it? A nonprofit. And they're saying that a lot of kids are having a lot of physical abuse because they're locked in the house with their parents, and their parents aren't used to being parents. That's kind of a sad epitaph to say. But on the other side of the coin, what coping strategies can we give so somebody might recognize themselves that they need anger management when dealing with their children? I mean, we see homeschool jokes, but maybe we need some coping strategies. So, all right, what other questions we got? Because we got just like a very few minutes left, and then I must go for the day. It's time to go home. If we've got no more questions, I'm going to call it. If you guys are good,